Hello everybody, my name is Samantha Chadwell and this is the second presentation for Comms 117 and it is called The Future of the Internet. So throughout this presentation I will be mostly focusing on the benefits that the Internet presents as well as the impact it has on young adults as well as old adults in our society. So the social benefits of Internet use will far outweigh the negatives over the next decade. This is a statement that I agree with. The Internet provides much more than just information for us. It gives us a way to socialize with people around the world at any given time. I feel that growing up around so much Internet access and so much multimedia exposure, that we can sometimes take advantage of the basic benefits that it can offer us, such as the social benefits, rather than just strictly taking advantage of the informational aspects of it. So this is a prediction by one of the research reports I found through Pew Internet. In 2020, the brains of multitasking teens and young adults are wired differently from those over age 35, and overall it yields helpful results. And so basically in the next 8 years, which is very soon, within like the next 8 years or so, we will start to find that our brains, by this age, our brains have been wired differently than our parents' brains were at the same age. This is definitely because of the time that we were raised, and obviously we grew up playing Game Boys and learning how to use Yahoo Mail and, you've got mail. So we've definitely grown up in a different type of environment than our parents did and as their parents did. Teens and young adults brought up from childhood with continuous connection to each other and to information will be nimble, quick-acting multitaskers who count on the Internet as their external brain. This statement I found was really interesting because it's just saying that basically what I was saying was that with continuous exposure to this type of fast-acting plethora of information, it basically becomes a second source of knowledge for us, whether we want to realize it or not. Not saying that it makes us any less capable of learning information, but we have the capability of learning so much more at such a quicker pace than we ever have before. So in the future there will be a distinct set of skills that young people will need to be successful that the Internet provides. This is incredibly true. As we start to grow up with all of this technology around us, we learn how to access it and how to manage, control, and even develop it much quicker than those before us. So we're growing up in this age of technology, so it's around us all the time. Millennials' brains are being rewired to adapt to the new information processing skills they will need to survive in this environment. Older generations, such as our parents, are learning to pick up on the things that we were born into. So, for example, my mom is still learning how to check her text messages, and because she is learning how to adapt into that type of environment, whereas I was born into a similar one and I've grown up in it. Similar to an animal trying to adapt to a new habitat. If they were born in it, it's much easier for them to learn how to survive in it and handle the exposure. But if they're thrown into a new territory and a new land that they're not used to, it becomes a lot more difficult. Millennials have already seen the benefits and will not reduce their use of these social tools over the next decade as they take on more responsibilities while growing older. So millennials, so basically our parents and grandparents, they're definitely appreciating all of the capabilities they're given by using the Internet and the social tools that they have access to that they've never had access to before. Our generation may take advantage of it just because we've been around it and we can't imagine a world without it. So I think a lot of times we can take advantage of it very easily, whereas adults now are definitely starting to learn how to access it and use it more efficiently, as well as appreciate it for its greatness. So here's a statistic provided by Pew Research. 2/3 of adult internet users, so 65%, now say they use a social networking site, such as Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, for those who may still have it. And that's more than double the percentage that reported social networking site usage in 2008. So in the last 4 years, that percentage has more than doubled, and that's pretty amazing. But if you think about it, that's 2008 was when Facebook was at its prime, and then Twitter has very rapidly caught up to it and superseding it, perhaps. So here's another statistic. For adults 50 years or older, staying in touch with family is the main reason they use social networking sites. And for adults under the age of 50, staying in touch with friends is more important. So like I was saying earlier, adults are really appreciating the amount of contact they can have with family and even friends, all around the world, whereas before they'd have to use emails, and before that it would be letters, and before that it would be telegraphs, and it's just socializing with relatives, across the country is so much more easily accessible now than it ever has been. And for adults ages under 50, it's definitely much easier, and it's not necessarily a main reason to use social networking sites, but it's definitely a benefit of having them. The digital naives, so basically older adults who are not raised in this technological age as we were, who are known for enthusiastically embracing social networking, will retain their willingness to share personal information online even as they get older and take on more responsibilities. So, even though we're getting older, we're still just as capable and willing to take part in social networking, despite how much it may change or how much we may change. It's still something accessible that is pretty handy. It is vital to reform education and emphasize digital literacy. So one reason why I appreciate this class, I have never been a very digital and computer tech type person, even though, as I was saying, we were born in a realm of technology. So I think it's very important that education is still education and in digital literacy is incredibly emphasized, because it's only going to grow larger and larger in our world. It's never going to reduce in size. It's just going to be even more important tomorrow as it was yesterday. The effects of hyperconnectivity and the always-on lifestyles of young people will be mostly positive between now and 2020. And just the amount of constantly staying connected and the constant communication with other social sites, there isn't really any sight of it getting to be more negative than positive within the next 8 years or so. Memories are becoming hyperlinks to information triggered by keywords and URLs. This was kind of an interesting little quote I found. Basically, it's referring to us as turning into human computers, where our memories are just going to be literally URLs that can take us into another area of our brain where we have more memories, and it's just a non-stop area of information. The disclosure of personal information online carries many social benefits as people open up to others in order to build friendships, form and find communities, seek help, and build their reputations. The graying of social networking sites continues, but the oldest users are still far less likely to be making regular use of these tools. Another quote by one of the researchers of Pew Research Institute. So the appeal of the internet to most users comes from the panoply of possibilities it brings to their lives. So that was my presentation, and here's a list of all the credits. And thank you very much.